Welcome back to Never Did It. I'm Jake Ziegler. I'm here with Brad Garoon. Never Did It. We look back at the last 100 years plus of movie history in an effort to fill in some of our own movie blind spots. This is season 2, Animation Boogaloo, and today we've got a supersize episode. There were just so many movies from this decade that we want to catch up on that we had to double them up. And we're going to be talking about 4 movies from the current decade that we are in. A couple of really interesting things we've got here. So, of the 4, we should have talked about this. What do you want to start with?
Well, real quick before we jump into all that, and I think we should start by talking about Belle.
Yeah.
But before we do that,
get that one out of the way.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. So this is our season finale. We've done this now twice. We've done our season finale as a double episode. I think it's interesting that we needed a double episode for a decade that's only half over.
Yeah.
So recency bias, I guess. But yeah, so I just thought that would bear mentioning. But yeah, let's talk about Belle. Why did you give me Mamoru Hosada's Belle?
Well, I know you had seen other Mamoru Hosada films, and mixed, I believe, is your response to most of them.
It's like half and half. I really like half of his movies, and the other half, I'm like, I want to like this. And I think he's maybe, I'll get into it more in a minute. My feelings.
Knowing that you had liked some of his movies and that this was, such a recent one that you hadn't seen, and I had seen this one obviously, and I saw it at the theater. I saw it at the Lyric Theater in Harbor Springs, like to give them a little shout out. And I saw it in they have this small theater, it's only like 23 seats, and I was the only one there. And I wonder how many other people have actually saw it that week, especially because there was no English dub version of it. It's just the version in Japanese with subtitles. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was visually really neat, and just knowing that it was a recent. I mean, of these recent movies, like I said, you've seen so many of them. I did have a somewhat limited choice, but listen, with me really liking this one and knowing that you liked Hosada, I feel like it was one that you should cross off your list.
Yeah. So, and since then, I've crossed every Hosada movie off my list. I've now seen his full filmography, except for the Digimon movie, because that's a weird one. He directed 3 Digimon specials, or maybe 2 of the 3 Digimon specials that became the Digimon movie that was released in theaters in the United States. So kind of like the way the Clone Wars movie came out, and that's a dud. That's a good show, but those are 3 really not good episodes of the show.
Yeah, they don't really don't do much together at all. Right. Yeah.
And from what I read about the Digimon movie, it's the same thing. It might be better, but you can really tell that it's 3 separate stories. So I was like, I have limited time, both before we do this episode and on Earth. So I'm not going to watch that. But I did watch his One Piece movie, which was, I would consider, his first feature film. And even though he was working with IP, that's not something that he came up with. And there are, I don't know if you know much about One Piece. So there weren't at the time that he made his movie, but there are now over 1,100 episodes of this anime.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's been on for decades, and obviously runs more frequently, or produce more episodes than The Simpsons, which has also been on for decades, but only has, a few hundred episodes.
Yeah, 700 something I think they've crossed now.
Oh, well, that's actually, that's more than I thought. So that's pretty comparable. And One Piece isn't a sitcom, it's an adventure story, it's about pirates. And they also, I think, make a theatrical film, or a film that's released theatrically in Japan every year. And this was, I think, the 4th or 5th one. And it's very dark, and I thought it was very good. And I've seen about 20 episodes of the show, so like 2%.
Yeah.
I liked it, but not enough to watch 11. I mean, just knowing that there were so many episodes ahead, I was like, I'm not going to do this.
That's a huge time commitment. I mean, yeah, I don't blame you.
Right. And some people say it's like the greatest anime ever, but you have to get to like episode 150 to get to that arc. And I was like, the odds that I'm going to do that are none. Anyway,
I believe them.
Yeah, right. Right. Sure, let's say it's true. So, but I really liked his movie. And then I don't love Summer Wars, which is one of his early movies. I thought was not very good. The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is one of his early movies. We covered that on this show. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah. And then he did Mirai and Belle are his recent movies. But before he did Mirai and Belle, he made Wolf Children and The Boy and the Beast. 2 movies I think are very, very good, but felt like he had to really push to make good. Like, how sometimes you watch a movie and it's like, this is good by like sheer force of will?
Yes. I'm trying to think of a good example of that, but yeah.
To me, and I know it won't be this way for you because you have a different emotional attachment to it, but to me, the Bob Dylan movie was that way. I'm like, there's so much great music in this movie that it's such a pleasure to watch anyway, even if the story is not the most interesting of all. Like his life is just like not controversial. He was an amazing artist who was kind of a jerk. But that movie, I feel like, wow, you jammed jams so much great music in it. Sheer force of will. And Wolf Children and The Boy and the Beast, I feel like both had elements of that. Wolf Children through emotion, Boy and the Beast through amazing action sequences and like really cool fantasy elements. And then he made Mirai, which I know you don't like.
I didn't care for it, no. And I saw it, once when it came out. It was nominated for the Academy Award that year, so I saw it at that time. I just remember thinking it was just not great. The story didn't grab me. Just thought the characters were not all that engaging. Yeah, I did, but I don't have like strong memories of it just because I only saw it the once.
I watched it this week, and I feel the exact same way.
Okay, good.
I was like, this little boy is irritating, and when he learns his lesson, he doesn't act on the lesson he learned. And then at the end of the movie, when we are supposed to know that he really learned his lesson, we get like 30 seconds of him being nice, and the movie ends. But we've seen him be nice for 30 seconds and then forget about it before. So
yeah,
what is any of this? And most of the characters aren't real, so I didn't like it.
I'm not going to be in a rush to revisit that one.
I'll never watch it again, for sure. And then Belle, which I also didn't really like. I've noticed in Belle, first off, the story is very, very similar to the story in Summer Wars,
which I haven't seen. Like I have some of these movies on my Vudu, like Summer Wars and Boy and the Beast. I have because they've acquired them at some point. I know I want to watch them, but I'm very limited in my filmography of him.
So I think you'll like both because Boy and the Beast is just quite good, and Summer Wars because it's quite similar to Belle. It doesn't have the Beauty and the Beast piece that Belle has. And we should mention Belle is about a girl who goes into a VR world, creates a viral sensation singer, basically like the Taylor Swift of the VR world. People are obsessed with her, but also hate her. It's like, It's actually very Taylor Swifty.
It is, yeah.
And she's tall and beautiful. And some of the stories about like her difficulty wrestling with her two identities. Her mother has passed away and she's become kind of closed off as a result. And then there's a guy, a beast in the VR world, who keeps attacking people and destroying their avatars, which I thought was like a little bit half-baked, that whole bit of it. And then she wants to know, like, why is this guy so angsty? And so there's this, her and her friends in real life are looking for the person who controls the beast in the fantasy world. And it just reminded me a lot of Summer Wars, a movie I don't like, which is also about, Summer Wars is like a mix between this film and War Games, the Matthew Broderick movie, where this online thing could end up destroying the world and they have to figure it out. But there's a huge VR world component of it. So I think it's interesting that he made two movies with the same framing device. But I'm with you. This looks unreal. Like visually, he does a great job. He has a much better job here than in Summer Wars, distinguishing between the two worlds. Like in Summer Wars, I think CG was a little bit, the CG in it was a little bit more rough. And here, the CG used in the virtual world is much more visually engaging and also not so different from the 2D animation of the regular world like it was in Summer Wars. So I really loved the way it looked, but I thought it was too long I just felt really bored by the end. And I think the performances are bad. Just like a lot of screaming. Most of the way these people communicate with each other is by screaming.
Yeah, I actually didn't really notice that, or if I didn't take away anything for me.
That's good.
And you hated the best friend too. You didn't like Hiro, the best friend.
No, I found her really, I'm like, she's so mean to the main character. Why is she? And also like she's mean, but then at one point she's like, but I'll always protect you. I'm like, but you're so mean to her. That's not protecting her.
I know, but some friends are weird like that.
Well, she is. I did really like some of the side characters. The hot girl, Ryuta or whatever. I liked her whole bit where
Ruka, I think, yeah.
Right, where she is not what you think she is. I mean, you don't really know her. There's an assumption among some of the characters that she's like too cool for school, and it turns out she's really not. She's a band geek. And I like the kayaker who had a crush on her. He was very funny. And I didn't really like or understand the relationship between her and her love interest, for lack of a better word, the guy who protects her in real life.
Oh yeah, he'd made a strong impression on her in childhood because when they were young, he'd said that he'd always protect her, and then they end up, he doesn't need to protect her anymore at the end and stuff. So I mean, there's some symmetry there.
That was for me a little tell don't show. He was like, I guess I don't have to protect you anymore.
Right? Yeah, okay. Like if we watched the movie, we got that.
Right. I did like the Beast stuff, even if I didn't like or understand why when he hit people, it disrupted their structural integrity and destroyed their avatar. It's not really important. I thought it would be interesting if we found out who the real life person was behind. There was this character who was sort of a guardian of you who could unmask people in you. I thought it'd be cool if we could find out who he really was, or maybe even if just more of the movie was about him. It's an interesting character. But then I don't want to spoil who the Beast was in case someone wants to watch it, but I thought that was dealing with interesting themes and that the movie maybe needed to be a little bit more. There's just like, okay, I think I figured it out. There's too much.
There's a lot of different plot lines going on. Yeah, there's like 3-4 different key things going on. Yeah.
And had the movie really focused in on the story of what's going on with the person who controls the beast, it would have been a more interesting movie. I think that might have been a movie maybe not so much for kids, because that's a really heavy theme, what ends up happening there. But it wasn't like a waste of time to watch the movie. I'm glad you recommended it. I have been wanting to watch it for a long time, but I am now like nervous. He has a movie coming out called Scarlet. It's getting not great reviews, and I'm just like kind of worried that it stinks.
That's a bummer.
It's Hamlet. It's another animated telling of
another Hamlet. Jeez.
What else did you like about Belle?
Really, I loved the look of it. I thought the songs were good,
but forgettable.
You know, not like K-pop Demon Hunters, where I'm like, you know, singing them over and over again for weeks. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought the music was good. I mean, visually, like I said, visually carried the day for me. I just thought it was so neat to look at, you know, for the entire time. And again, the second time having seen it, you know, there's just so many cool little details in it. The animation, I think, is just outstanding, real gorgeous. And there were, you know, several different plot lines, like you said, but I was satisfied enough by all of them where none of them felt like oh my God, you know, like I thought they did a, you know, good enough job kind of weaving them all together. And yeah, I like the Beauty and the Beast angle, but not like it wasn't like a straight retelling. I mean, I know we talked about Highest to Lowest recently, how people are saying it's inspired by, and you're like, no, it's the same story. This I felt like is more inspired by like Beauty and the Beast, and kind of takes stuff from that, but like does it, you know, in a much different way. Yeah, I thought all that was pretty cool.
Except for the one scene that is pulled directly from the Disney movie.
Well, yeah, except for that one. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's fine, because that looked cool. It's like, oh, here's a gothic version of that.
Yeah, the virtual universe I thought, you know, was really cool and really really well laid out and everything. Yeah, I liked all of that a lot. Yeah,
you should check out Summer Wars just to see like him do a virtual world a little bit less baked. You know what's interesting that I just learned is Hosada was the original director of Howl's Moving Castle.
No way.
And he either got fired or quit off that movie and never made a movie with Ghibli. He was obsessed with Isao Takahata. Actually, there's a cute nod to Takahata in Mirai. The boy Kun, the main character, is going through his books to show his little sister, and he sees Anne of Green Gables. Takahata made an Anne of Green Gables anime show, and it's one of the most famous animes ever. And that's the imagery he used in the movie, which I thought was
interesting. Cool. I like that.
But I think the pressure was too much, and I think now that we know more about how Takahata and Miyazaki were like two of the greatest curmudgeons of all time, I can't imagine that was an easy environment to work in. And so he started his own studio, and now is very successful.
Good for him, yeah.
And he's, once or twice Oscar nominated?
Mirai did for sure. A lot of his didn't. Like Girl Who Leapt Through Time wasn't on the animated list either. Boy and the Beast, I know, was on the list, but didn't get nominated. And Summer Wars, I think, was on the list too, but didn't get nominated. Belle was on the list, but not nominated.
Got it. As long as we're talking about 2020 animated movies nominated for Oscars, and we'll stay in Japan, I think we'll do Colors Within next. But Arco, this new French animated film, and it's the debut of its filmmaker, not just, I mean, it will certainly be on the animated list. It is on the short list to be France's submission for Best International Film.
Which I love that. There's that's happened more frequently, and I've noticed in the last couple of years. Like there have been movies like My Life as a Zucchini that, you know, went for both, and Flea, which we talked about in the first season, went for both.
Neja, I think Neja too last year went for both, or went for international and then didn't.
For the international, but not animated, because I think it didn't have a release in the States that they could use. But yeah, I mean, it's, and I'm sure there are more examples I'm forgetting, but that's, you know, more and more common in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see Arco. I had been waiting forever to see Boys Go to Jupiter, and now Arco is my new. Arco and Little Amelie are my new Boys Go to Jupiters.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too.
Okay, let's talk about Naoko Yamada's The Colors Within.
Yeah, which I watched again last night. I've actually seen it twice now.
Oh, you watched it twice?
Yeah, I was because I watched it with Viv last night, and then or 2 nights ago, and then last night my wife and daughter were watching American Horror Story together. That's something they've decided to do together, and that show's fine, but I you know, they can have it. So I was just hanging out in my office by myself, getting ready for the podcast today. I was like, I should have something on in the background. I just put Colors Within on in the background just because I really, you know, liked it and thought I could, you know, get more out of it the second time. And so it was like, while I was putting together my lists and stuff for today, I watched it. So yeah, I mean, I'd say I've seen it twice.
That's awesome. I have not. I've only seen it once.
You didn't watch it again for?
I wanted to watch the Mamoru Hosada movies. So no, but I saw it in the theater. So I saw it in Japanese, and there were a surprising amount of people in the theater. In fact, one of the funnier moments of seeing this movie in the theater was a woman and her very young child showed up. And I was like, how is this kid going to read the subtitles? And they did not stay for very long.
They did not. You know what's funny about that too is this is completely unrelated, but when I saw the Kane Mutiny last week, I mean, this is a 1950s legal drama that's surprisingly more about mental health than I would have realized. It's very cool. I really loved it. But yeah, this guy walked in and he had his 2 kids with him, and they had to be like 8 and 5. It was like, Dude, come on. Like, they're going to be so fucking bored. Like, I would never have done that to my kid.
Did they leave?
No, they stayed through the whole thing.
This guy is like
Couldn't
really,
believe it.
he's like really insisting upon an education for his children.
I guess so. And you know what? The kids were well behaved, so like I can't complain. But I was just like, wow. I mean, the cane mutiny. Like, come on, man.
Right. When I saw it, I'd seen a few of Yamada's movies. I'd seen Liz and the Bluebird, and I'd seen A Silent Voice. So her previous two features, I've never seen K-On! The movie or Tamako Love Story. And I've actually been meaning, I had brought these huge ambitions for yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm going to watch Mirai and both of Yamada's first two movies. And Mirai took me forever to get through. So I didn't end up watching anything else.
Yeah. And I haven't seen either of those two, but they've been, again, they made the animated list, so they've been on my radar at least, but I would like to see them.
Really highly regarded. A Silent Voice I thought was interesting, very emo. And Liz and the Bluebird did not resonate with me at all. But I saw this trailer for The Colors Within. I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. The style of it looks unlike a lot of anime. And I was completely drawn in by the story of a blonde girl at a boarding school or an all-girls school who wants to start a band with this dropout, this very popular dropout who works at a bookstore now. What? Kimmy. I don't remember the character's name, so fill them in for me.
Yeah, plus I saw it I watched the English dub, so it might be different.
Oh, you watched the English dub both times?
Yeah, that's the version that, so I watched the English dub, and then last night I said I was kind of watching
in
it
the background.
So plus that's the default version when you buy it on Vudu, but they do have the Japanese language version is on it too.
I was going to say,
I like when they do that.
Let's talk about this a little bit, because Vudu is funny because you have to and Vudu and HBO Max are both, I think, do this worse than Apple and Netflix. HBO Max does it the worst, where there are separate listings for the English and Japanese version. So like I would have watched Belle in Japanese, but it came up in English first on HBO Max. So I just assumed that that's all that they had.
Oh, really? Because I watched it in Japanese on HBO Max.
It's there.
That's what came up when I searched it.
I found it later. So yeah, it's definitely there. I don't like that it's two completely separate listings on the platform. On Vudu, the Japanese version is like a bonus feature, right? It's at the bottom, which is fine. Yep. But on Apple TV and on Netflix, you just go into the language settings and you can change it there, which I think is the best because you can do it in the middle. Like when I was watching Mirai, I went back and forth to see which one I liked more.
That's interesting, yeah.
And you can do that on Netflix. Anyway, back to the story. They're starting a band. There's a boy who they know, he gets involved in the band too, and it helps them all deal with their personal problems. And I really love Japanese movies, especially about like people coming together to get better at a skill and then the big performance at the end. So like Blue Planet is a version of this that I think is less good than The Colors Within. There's The First Slam Dunk, which is like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen about a basketball team.
It's the best basketball movie I think ever.
I totally agree.
I don't think anything comes close.
Not a ton of competition.
No, that's why nothing comes close.
Yeah. And The Sixth Man.
Blue Chip. Yeah.
And then
Blue Chips is a Friedkin movie. Maybe I should give it a little more credit.
Yeah, I've never seen it. That's Shaq, right?
Yeah, that's Shaq.
What are other basketball movies? Space Jam?
Space Jam? Space Jam's a lot of fun. What about Teen Wolf? Does that count as a basketball movie?
No, that's a werewolf movie.
Glory Road, Coach Carter. Love and Basketball. People love that movie.
Is Hoosiers a football movie or a basketball movie?
Hoosiers is basketball.
Yeah. People love Hoosiers.
They do, yeah. Great. Oh, there's the Hoop Dreams documentary. I mean, that's not a... Oh, wow, there's quite a bit. Kevin Bacon and The Air Up There. I remember that movie.
Oh, right. White Man Can't Jump. That's actually not bad.
White Man Can't Jump is really funny. I do like that.
Yeah.
Recently there was Hustle, the Sandler movie. It was pretty good. There was Ben Affleck was a basketball coach in the way back. He was an recovering alcoholic.
Right. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of these, but The First Slam Dunk is like a triumph. It's such a crazy movie. The whole game, the whole movie takes place within the course of one basketball game.
It's awesome. It is better. I mean, I like a lot of those movies I mentioned, but yeah, this First Slam Dunk is way better.
And it's animated, so that's neat. This does the same thing to me for Christian rock, which I don't think I quite clocked that was what, but there are many nun characters because it's a Catholic school. At the end of it, and I know you read my Letterboxd review, it was like, a movie is really good when I get locked in and I get really invested in the success of these three kids doing worship music. I am a Jewish.
Yes.
And also it just looks amazing. It's like all pastel colors and a palette that you don't see typically in animated films or any movie for that matter. There's a Netflix, a series of animated movies that are really esoteric called Mononoke, no relation to the Ghibli movie. And they're very cool looking in a similar way, but they're really much harder to sort of understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. So I just wanted to talk about it, and I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, we did both, and Viv loved it too. I mean, she was locked in from the beginning. I mean, this is kind of like I said, she's 13, so this is kind of right in her wheelhouse right now. But yeah, we both watched it. We watched it together, really loved it. You can identify with the characters, and I love that their problems are like, I mean, they're serious problems, but they're not like end of the world type problems. They're just like kind of problems that a lot of people have, and that a lot of people deal with. And there's that kind of gives it this universality that just makes it really easy for you to connect in. I said with this worship music or this character who's so Catholic. Like even before I became Jewish, I was like there wasn't much about Catholicism that I could identify with, but this character really does it, and it's awesome. And yeah, it looks beautiful, and it's just a wonderful movie.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it's concerned with religion, but that's not like the themes are about these kids using music to overcome other problems they're having, and yeah, so relatable the problems that they're having. Like I never dropped out of school, and when I shouldn't have, but that's like the most extreme thing that happens.
Right.
And there's a storm, but it's just a storm for the sake of keeping them in a place for longer than they should be. That was great. And I love that everything resolved in a way that I wasn't quite sure that it would resolve. Like sometimes you're like, yeah, of course, da-da-da-da. But they made me believe that some of these threads might have sadder endings, and then they don't. And that made me feel good.
Well, yeah, and I loved the nun character and her relationship with the main character. I thought was really, kind of a strong part of the movie, especially when she tells, oh, I used to be in a rock band and all that. That's like a kind of a big moment for them. And yeah, it's really sweet. I can't say enough good things about it. I really did love it.
High recommendation for...
high recommendation.
For The Colors Within. I have it on Blu-ray now. That was one that, as soon as it became available, I got it.
Nice, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to one of yours. The other one of yours, Little Nicholas, Happy as Can Be. I was so glad that you recommended this. I've been wanting to watch this for a really long time. Well, not really long. It only came out 3-4 years ago.
3 years ago.
It used to be on the Letterboxd Top 100 animated list, and when it was, I could not find it anywhere.
Oh.
And it's since dropped off, but that's okay. It's still rated very highly by the Letterboxd community. Tell us about it and why you recommended it.
Well, I saw it probably somewhat recently too. I certainly didn't see it right when it came out, but it was on that Oscar animated list, so it had been on my radar, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what Little Nicholas was or that it was an existing thing. And I think it was on Hoopla, so I just decided, was looking at the list, I was like, that one's available and it's short, I'm going to watch it. And I was just really taken with it. It's just this really sweet story about, there's kind of two different things going on in this movie, where there's the main character, is kind of the writer of the comic, and it's kind of dealing, kind of shows you about his life while he's creating this comic with a friend and collaborator of his. So there's parts of it that are the Little Nicholas comic, and then there's parts of it that are the creator coming up with it. And it's all animated. So like even the parts with, like the real people is still animated, and it's just a really simple animation style, and it's a really simple story. Like I said, it's sweet and delightful, and it just made me feel warm and good all over.
I liked it too. It's funny. It made me think immediately of two other movies, and not because they're so similar, although one of them is very similar and one of them's not. But the Little Nicholas portions in the tradition of the comic are anthology. They're not related to each other. Isao Takahata made a movie not too long before he died called My Neighbors the Yamadas, and it is basically, what if that movie was just the comic? And I don't think it's as effective, My Neighbors the Yamadas. And it is rare that I say a movie is better than an Isao Takahata movie, although this is my least favorite maybe Studio Ghibli movie, period. No, because The Witches bullshit exists.
Oh yeah,
Hedwig. But I really don't care for my Neighbors the Yamadas, and I've watched it several times. It's like
I haven't seen that one. That's also a never do it for me.
I wouldn't rush out for it. There's other Takahata, like you should see Pompoko before you see it. You should see Princess Kaguya before you see it.
That I have seen. Okay. Yeah, that did get nominated, so I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's one of the most incredible looking movies you'll ever see.
Gorgeous, yeah.
But My Neighbor the Yamadas, like I'm really trying. Like, I do it with Ratatouille. Every couple of years, I'm like, maybe this will be the time I really love Ratatouille, and I never do. And it's with My Neighbors the Yamadas, I'm like, I turn it on, and within 30 minutes, I'm like, I need a break. Another movie like that are the Tukes and Fanny movies, which I know you don't like as much, but those are anthology films because those were originally released on Instagram.
Right.
And I'm so drawn into them. I just bought them on Blu-ray. Can't wait for the third one to come out. I think the first couple of vignettes from it have come out. These are Albert Birney's Russian blobs that just talk about what it's like to be alive. Yeah, I love that. And this fell somewhere in between. But where I think it triumphed was it did some of what My Neighbors the Yamadas did, but did it way better. But then it's a sneaky biopic of, like you said, of the two artists, both of whom are cartoonists, one of whom became a writer. And so he writes and the other guy animates. It's always fun to be able to slot a movie into my Jewish experience of moving pictures, of motion pictures list, because the writer of Little Nicholas was a Jewish immigrant Actually, no, he's French born, but his parents were immigrants from Poland, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Right. And during World War II, they fled to Argentina.
Mhm.
And then he came back later. And they talk about that in the movie. And I thought that was pretty interesting to talk about in a children's movie about a comic. But then it turns out this actually isn't really a children's movie because the artist's life was also, there's a lot of child abuse and stuff that he was dealing with. So much in the same way as Belle, I thought it was trying to tackle maybe a little bit too much, but I don't know what I would want it to focus on more, because I don't want it to be just a Little Nicholas movie, because I don't love My Neighbors the Yamadas, even though the Little Nicholas portions are very funny.
Right, but I agree. I don't think that would make for an entire movie. I mean, if you were to do that, I mean, the movie should be like, 40, 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it would have to be short and not like a feature length, because I like all that stuff, but I don't think there's enough there to make a whole movie out of. So I think adding the real life things into it, I think, was really key to making the movie as enjoyable for me as it was.
Yeah, I'm with you. And there are live action Little Nicholas movies that are just about the Little Nicholas character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but according to the Letterboxd community, these are like forgettable Dennis the Menace type movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, this probably is about as good as it's going to get for telling this story. And it's I would recommend it. Like, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's nice. It's sweet. It's short. Yeah, it looks different than a lot of the other animated movies we see coming out. It's just, it's great. It's really good.
Yeah.
I just really liked it.
And for the last two movies, we talked about, the other movies by those directors, but René Goscinny, and I'm pronouncing these names wrong, and Jean-Jacques Sempé, they don't have, like, Goscinny has another movie coming out about, I think, an Ethiopian girl. Oh, no, sorry. Those are the creators of Little Nicholas, not the...
The directors are different. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I'm looking at it right now. Like, where are you getting these names?
Right, no. Amandine Fredon and Benjamin Massoubre. Amandine Fredon has done, like, some work in children's television, but I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, a show called Ariel.
Yeah, and then Benjamin Massoubre, I think this was his first feature film, although he edited a ton of other animated films that have like been on the Oscar lists, and you've seen a bunch of them, I've seen a bunch of them, but he didn't direct them. But he's like a long-standing name in the French animation field.
I've seen a few of these. Yeah, I've seen a few of these he worked on. I Lost My Body. Really liked that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Long Way North, I thought was pretty good. I've seen that one.
Haven't seen that one.
Oh, Mama's Pouring Rain. That's right. That's a short that he worked on. Mama's Pouring Rain. That was pretty good too. So yeah, the ones I've seen that he worked on, I really enjoyed.
He did more than that.
Big Bad Fox and Other Tales.
Yeah, that I've seen. That's cute.
It's on my list too to watch. Yeah.
It's not great, but it's cute.
There's a Calamity Jane type movie which is not available to watch anywhere.
The poster for that one always makes me think, is this a sequel to A Town Called Panic?
Yeah.
Not related. In any event, this is his first feature film, and he's got like he has the Ethiopian movie coming out. Sheba. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, there's not much else to comment on as far as they're concerned, because this was their big breakout. And then I recommended for you the Chinese sensation, just not in the United States, the first animated movie to ever earn $2 billion, the first non-Hollywood movie to ever earn $1 billion and $2 billion, Ne Zha 2. Because I saw Ne Zha 1 on Tubi and thought this movie is garbage. And then I saw Ne Zha 2 in the theater when it was released earlier this year in its original Chinese language version, and was like, holy crap, they really went for it with this thing. There are set pieces in this movie, action set pieces that, I mean, they make Avengers Endgame look like Morbius. They're wild. What did you think of Ne Zha 2?
Man, this movie blew my freaking mind. And I had been hyped for it because, like I said, I knew you had seen it when it came out earlier this year. I didn't think it would come to theaters near me. It was the closest theater it was at for a little while. It played about 90 minutes away from me. But then it came to a theater that was a little bit closer to me. I'll shout out the Elk Rapids Cinema. Thank you very much for bringing it. I don't think they'll ever bring a movie like this again, because I attended their 4th showing of it, and I was the first person to buy a ticket. So that bums me out.
Sorry, you were the first person to buy a ticket to any of the 4 showing?
Yes, and that's correct. They had 3 shows on Friday and nobody came.
And then you got a private screening?
Yes. Yep. I was in like a 400-seat auditorium all by myself. Yeah.
When I saw it, I was the only white person in my theater, but there were a smattering of Asian families with me.
They had a great time, I'm sure, because this movie rocks.
Yeah, I agree. What is this about? Ne Zha is a deity. I'm trying to remember the storyline of the first movie, because it actually plays into the... You don't have to see the first movie to see the second movie. They kind of recap it in the beginning enough.
In like a minute, too. They tell you everything you need to know about the first movie, pretty much.
Right, and a lot of the characters in the second movie have like completely different motivations than they did in the first movie. Like a lot of baby faces that were heels and vice versa. Of the ones that stick around, it's actually a lot of heels that become baby faces, because there's a new batch of heels, and they are great. But in the first one, basically, there's this artifact, this holy artifact, and it's split into 2. It's supposed to be inseminated into the evil version of it is supposed to be given to a dragon, and the good version to this family, this like aristocratic family, and this cat spirit switches them. So the family is cursed with this evil son, this evil boss baby. The dragon ends up with the like virtuous jewel. I don't even know what you call these things. The first movie is really like, it's also like a Dennis the Menace movie where this kid, Neja, is just such a pain in the ass for his village. But then there's a big battle against the dragon boy, who looks like a boy, not a dragon. And that's the first movie. And then they sort of like annihilate each other's bodies, and the cat spirit is exposed as a bad guy. And the second movie starts with their bodies being reconstituted, but then at the same time, immediately shift, there's a giant war coming between the dragons and the humans, and who's going to stop it? And there's a giant different kind of boss baby, a million-year-old boss baby, just a old man, bald baby looking guy who is a god, I think. You know, it's a road movie. Neja has to pretend he's a girl and go, it's crazy.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour movie. And it's stuffed.
It is. But there are, again, just these amazing set pieces. Like, I think when I realized that this movie was markedly different than the first one was when Neja has to fight the gophers. Halfway through, I'm like, oh my God, they're animating the shit out of this scene. These gophers who are just like comic relief characters, they're like really going for it. And it reminded me a lot of Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, here's like kind of a Western feeling brawl just stuck in the middle of this other fantasy movie. And I really liked the way they did that. And then all the emotional stuff with Neja and his mom, I thought was really good. And
Michelle Yeoh, they got Michelle Yeoh do the voice for the English dub, which of course she's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad that you said that, because when I saw it in the trailer, I thought she sounds too old for this character.
You think so?
Well, she's a young woman, and then Michelle Yeoh is old. So I thought she's
maybe it's because it's so hard to dissociate. I mean, because we know her so well at this point, it's just hard to not see her. Yeah.
I also thought, like, I know you're trying, this is like for marketing reasons that you got Michelle Yeoh to do this, but there are other good Chinese English speaking actresses. We've seen them do a lot in recent years that you could have gotten who would be more age appropriate for this.
Certainly.
Oh, well, not a big beef.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I can't knock on Michelle Yeoh. I mean, she's Michelle Yeoh. She's awesome.
I'm so glad. What else? Tell me what you liked about it.
The one thing for me, the scene that really, and I think I texted you about this already too, but it's that one shot where the dragons and like people are like flying towards each other, and then the blood just kind of starts dissipating because of all the killing that's happening. That you know the one, right? You know the one I'm talking about, where it's right towards the end, like the blood starts kind of floating away from that. Like the way that looked, like I've never seen anything even close to that, or anything even like attempted to be like that big, you know, like in a battle type of sequence. I mean, that to me, like, I think I might have like cried a little bit because I was so just like
awestruck.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like this is fucking cool, and I cannot wait to see this again. Like, can we freeze this? Like, can we slow it down just so I can see every detail in it? It was like, and there's a lot of like really intricate detailing in this movie like that, but that to me was like the one scene that put it like way over. I was like, this is a level above like the other stuff.
Right. I was a big fan of Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the comic book, not the and the television show, but not so much the movie. But because I remember thinking when reading the comic, oh, there are things here that they're not, and in the 90s especially, they're not going to be able to do on television or in a movie. But I think if the Chinese produced it, they could now, because there's that scene at the end where like there is an army of angels that fights an army of monsters, and you can see every single one of them, to the point that between that and the tree, the way that tree creature moved. I'm trying to say this without spoiling too much, but I remember thinking, I don't know if the Chinese have the same like taboos on AI generation as we do. So I looked it up, and it turns out none of the images we saw were AI generated. So that was kind of a relief. And if you look at the credits, there is also an army of animators who worked on this movie. The only thing I could find was like they did use maybe like AI processing to render the movie, which I don't care. I mean, it's all machines anyway. When you talk about the potential of AI, if that's what it can do for the benefit of a team of animators, then great, because it looked so good. And yeah, I want a physical release of this so bad. I want to like make the room dark and watch it on my giant TV over and over again.
And for 2.5 hours, it flies by really fast. Like I said, it recaps the first movie real quickly, gives you kind of a short introduction to what's going on, and then they get into story, and it never gets boring. Like there aren't any like dull moments in this. It's constantly interesting. And how they took that character from the first movie, the Neja character, and what they did with him in the first movie versus how he is in the second movie, without like completely fundamentally changing the character, but making him 100 times more bearable and interesting. I mean, do they have different writers on this? Like how did they accomplish that from one to the next? It's the same director, I know that.
Yeah, I have no idea. So yeah, the director's name is
Yang Yu.
That's his real name, but he goes by Josie.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, he filmed both, and he's directing the third one. This one ends on a bit of a very funny cliffhanger.
Yeah.
At least it was very funny in Mandarin.
Did you stay all the way through the credits? There was more stuff in the credits.
With the stuff in the jail, right?
I think that was it.
Yeah, that's the cliffhanger I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. Because it tells you, I like how it tells you too, like, there's stuff in the credits, don't leave yet. Like, it's actually telling you that in the...
It didn't do that in the Japanese, or in the...
really?
Chinese
Yeah,
version.
the American one does.
But it wasn't, it also, I don't think, and I'm going off memory from February, but I don't think it played at the end of the credits. I think it played like a little bit through the credits, like a mid-credit scene.
Yeah,
really funny. I don't know how it translated into English, but it was hilarious in Mandarin or with subtitles. So yeah, I cannot wait for the third one, and it's gonna also probably make $1 gazillion. And I'm pretty surprised it didn't hit at all. I mean, maybe asking kids to sit through a 2.5 hour movie, and they didn't do like TV promotion so much. So
I saw barely anything for it. I mean, I didn't really see any advertising for it much at all.
Yeah. So probably they just did this so it can get Oscar stuff.
And hopefully it does. I mean, if I had to vote right now, this would be my winner. I mean, I know there's quite a bit coming out still, but I think this is, if I'm looking at my animated list, there have been some other good things. But yeah, I mean, I love K-pop Demon Hunters, but Neja 2 would be better.
Yeah, so I think K-pop Demon Hunters is going to win the Oscar for Best Animated Film this year. Actually, let's talk about this real quick because we're going to do our shorts in a second. But so my guess for the lineup for Oscars, I'm going to do what I think is going to be and what I think it should be. What I think is going to be is Neja 2, K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Arco, and maybe Little Amelie. But then, so honestly, if it's those five, I also think those are the five that should win, or that should get nominated.
I think Neja 2 is maybe. I mean, we've seen other like great movies from, different areas that just get completely overlooked. Like Colors Within was never even considered a contender at all. Flow did an amazing job, but like when Away came out, that didn't make a dent with the Academy. So
yeah, but Away was an experiment by, I mean, we love it, right? And it is incredible, but it was an experiment by one guy. So
that's true.
What would the campaign behind it have been?
That's a good point. I'm just worried that like Neja 2 will get overlooked just because I feel like nobody over here is talking about it. But I mean, I think K-pop, Demon Hunters is a good shot at a nomination. I think Elio is going to get nominated because it's Pixar. I think Zootopia 2, as long as it's not a disaster, will probably get nominated. Arco does seem like a good bet as well.
This is crazy. I only have 3 animated movies on my best of 2025 so far. Boys Go to Jupiter is not getting a look from the Oscars.
No.
And neither is Predator Killer of Killers.
Right, because that's going to be released on Hulu. So
right, although great movie.
Oh yeah, I loved it. That's my second and my number 2 animated movie of the year.
I'm excited for you to be when it comes out on streaming, etc. I'm excited for you to see Boys Go to Jupiter. I think you'll like it. It's really
me too. Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
So you think it's going to be Neja, Elio, Zootopia, K-pop, or do you not think Neja and you think Arco instead?
I think Arco will get. Yeah, I think it's going to be Arco, K-pop, Elio, Zootopia. And then maybe the 5th one's going to be either Neja 2, Little Amelie, In Your Dreams, I think has a shot, or the news if Sylvain Chomet.
The Illusion.
Comes out this year.
Is that coming out this year?
I haven't heard, but I mean, it could. They might sneak it in just to qualify or something. But if it does, I think that's got a good shot.
I'm going with so definitively, I am saying not definitively, predictively, I am saying Little Amelie, Arco, Neja, K-pop, Zootopia. I'm taking a big risk saying not Elio. It was Pixar's biggest bomb.
Oh, yeah. Even more than Good Dinosaur?
Yes.
I did not realize that.
Not as bad as Soul, but you have to take out the...
Yeah, that's not fair. I mean, you can't compare Soul or Luca with the other films, or Turning Red.
Right. Those 3 are those all have asterisks. All right, do you want to do our 2020 short?
Yeah, we can do 2020 shorts.
All right, let's do 2020 shorts. This was the hardest decade for me to do a shorts list, even though the decade's only half over. But here we go. Flawed as it is, this is my list. Number 10, The Ice Merchants by João Gonzalez. Just real tearjerker. I think I watched this one on the New York Times website. Incredible. My number 9 is Zune by Jonathan Schwenk. This was part of Animation Mixtape, which was an anthology film that Don Hertzfeldt put together. And this was probably my favorite short from the Animation Mixtape. It's only 4 minutes long, and it just looks like nothing else I've ever seen. It's about a bunch of axolotls and then ghost people. It's very cool. Number 8 is Joseph Mateo's Blush, which is on Apple TV Plus, about a space traveler on it's like kind of sad, and then Really good. I don't know. I thought this was great. The studio, it's Skydance Animation, which is really mixed in terms of features, mixed leaning bad. But Blush I liked a lot. My number 7 is A Kind of Testament, which came out last year or the year before by Stephen Vullamin. It's like a weird, it reminded me a lot of Linklater, of like when Linklater does stuff about identity, that's sort of like what this filled the same gap for me. My number 6 is Black Slide by Yuri Lotan, an Israeli film, stop motion animated. Actually, I think it's CG, but looks stop motion. Really cool looking thing. You introduced me to this movie. My number 5 is another Israeli film, Letter to a Pig, about a girl who learns about from a Holocaust survivor in school and has kind of an existential breakdown over her Jewish identity. Really interesting. Speaking of Don Hertzfeldt, my number 4 is Me by Don Hertzfeldt, which came out just last year and didn't get nominated for Best Animated Short, which I thought was crazy.
And it was on the eligible list too, so I don't know what happened there.
Wild. I liked it better than every single, as you'll see from the rest of my list. I liked it better than every, except for one. I liked it better than every animated short film that was nominated. My number 3 is Pachyderm by Stephanie Clement, another movie about trauma. I think this one was about child sex abuse. Really powerful watercolor animated movie. These movies are really underrated on Letterboxd, if you ask me. My number 2 is a movie I've talked about at greater length on this channel before, but Samuel Jerome Mason's Balloonerism, which is Mac Miller's posthumous release. I've never seen anything that looks like this. It's so cool. And then my number 1, I think, is another movie that I've talked about on here before, but it's from Love, Death, and Robots. It's Alberto Mielgo's Jabaro, which is animated in a way that I actually don't even understand how he did it. Some of it looks absolutely real. And it's a story of a conquistador who meets a siren and they destroy each other. It's very violent and very good.
All right. I see a lot of animated shorts now just because, again, of the Oscar list. It's 15 long every year, and then plus assorted other things that come out that I see. So a couple of honorable mentions that I had: Kind of Testament, Robin, which was an Oscar nominee, 20-something, which was a Spark short, I believe. That's a Pixar Spark short, one that I really liked. There was a Vietnamese film called Flowing Home that I really liked, and then another Spark short called Loop that I thought was very, very good. My number 10 was an Oscar nominee just this past year called In the Shadow of the Cypress.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that was really good, right? Yeah, Hossein Maliemi and Shirin Sohani were the directors there. I hope I've not butchered those names too poorly. My number 9 is a film called The Flying Sailor. It had some really cool animation in it, directed by Amanda Forbes and Wendy Tilby.
Can I say something about that one real quick?
Yeah, did you see this one too?
I saw it when it was nominated for an Oscar and thought it was just okay. And then it was part of Animation Mixtape, and I was like, I totally underrated that. This is incredible.
That's cool. I'm glad you did. Yeah, because I really liked this one. That was one of my top ones from that year. Number 8 is one that you had on your list as well. Is Letter to a Pig. I thought was very, very good. Number 7, another Spark short that I really liked called Out, about a man coming out of the closet to his parents. Number 6 is one by the Napoleon Dynamite team of Jerusha Hess and Jared Hess called 95 Senses, which I was surprised at how much I liked, and because I saw it twice. Tim Blake Nelson is the lead voice in this, and he's just I love Tim Blake Nelson in pretty much all things that he appears in. Number 5 is one. Do you have this on your list? Black Slide?
Yeah.
Black Slide. Okay, yep. You did say that. Yeah.
I said you introduced me to this movie, and you just stared off blankly.
Oh, I was probably looking at my list, like trying to, yes, very, very good. Number 4, this one is on Netflix. I think a lot of people have seen it. Will McCormick and Michael Govier's If Anything Happens, I Love You. That was the Oscar winner that year. It's a tough hang, but it's pretty good. Number 3 is one, again, that you had on your list, Pachyderm. Beautiful animation, tragic story, very, very good. Number 2, also one that you had very high on your list, or was on your list at least, is Ice Merchants. And I've seen this one a couple of times too, and I really, really love it every time. And then my number 1, which I don't think was on your list, and I'm not sure if you've seen, but it's filmed by Eric O, called Opera, which is a historical, it's really cool. It's a big pyramid, and he does a lot of cool animated stuff like within the pyramid. Do you know this movie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh yeah, you gotta see this movie, Eric O, Opera. You would really like it.
Cool. I'd put it on my list, but I have my feature list up, and I don't want to screw it up. So I don't know what to do here because I have 11 movies I really want to put on the list.
Just do a tie for number 10.
Which 2 can I pair together? Okay, number 10 and 11. I've mentioned both of these on this episode already, but they are no. I'm just gonna say The Colors Within is an honorable mention.
Yeah,
that was really hard for me to do just now. Number 10 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie totally caught me off guard. I thought the first Puss in Boots was solid, like pretty fun, better than Shrek 4 and Shrek 3. But Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, DreamWorks leaned more into the style that they were doing with, or the style that's become popular with Mitchells and the Machines and the Spider-Verse movies. Joel Crawford directed this, and I loved their conception of death in this movie is very, very cool and unexpected in a Shrek movie. My number 9 is the sequel to Tukes and Fanny called Eyeballs in the Darkness, about 2 Russian blobs that putter around and talk about their existence. I think these are really great. And I don't know where you can watch them online right now, possibly YouTube, but they're available for purchase on Albert Bierny's website. My number 8 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which would probably be higher, but it doesn't have an ending. I'd bump up against that. But I caught some of this again in a hotel recently and was like, fuck, this movie's so cool. My number 7 is The Wild Robot. I've said this a few times, but the first 20 minutes of this movie are basically Mad Max Fury Road. It is the robot trying to survive in a storm, and you don't really know anything about her yet. It's incredible that they did this way. I saw this the same day I saw Transformers 1, and I was like, wow, the gap between these two movies is crazy. And I know a lot of people really like Transformers 1, but I don't even think it's close.
I like it, but yeah, I mean, not even close to Wild Robot.
My number 6 is Ne Zha 2, which we talked about at great length. My number 5 is the first Slam Dunk, which we talked about quite a bit before, a basketball movie that is just about a basketball game, and then memories of what led people to that game. My number 4 is Flow, which I think everybody at this point knows about Flow, but my cat is the cat from Flow, and he watched this movie with me very intently, which he does sometimes. My number 3 is Soul, which we talked about briefly, but every time I watch this movie, I think I'm not going to like it as much, and every time I finish it, I think this is a 5-star film that really deftly handles existential dread and also just like the fear of living your life wrong. My number 2 is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which you could argue is not an animated film, but give me a break. The main character in every scene is animated, and it qualified for the Oscar for Best Animation.
That's all I need to hear, yeah.
Right, just like the Avatar movies should, since they are clearly more than 70% animated.
But they have to be submitted for it is the thing.
Right.
That's the thing that, like, it's not, people would be like, well, the Academy, this, that. It's like, well, if they're not submitted, then it's not considered.
Right, well, I'm happy to make fun of James Cameron for being a tool.
Yes.
And then my number 1 is Robot Dreams, which I think might be a perfect movie. It's a dialogue-free film about a robot and a dog and their relationship, their separation, involuntary separation, and then what happens when there's a chance they might find each other again. This movie changed the way I think about music and the way what I think animation can do. I think this is not just the best animated movie of this decade, but one of the best movies of this decade.
Well, there's going to be a bit of overlap on our list here, but I had a couple honorable mentions that I'll just throw out. Everything that I gave, this is everything I gave 4.5 stars to or more is on my list. So honorable mentions, I've got a lot of these we've mentioned already. Predator, Killer of Killers, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie was way better than I expected to be. Enjoyed that a lot. I know we've talked about this before, and you also enjoy Mars Express. One I know you enjoy less than me, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Turning Red, Encanto. I really liked Vivo, Belle, and the weird little movie I know you've seen called Crypto Zoo that I really, really enjoyed. So those are my honorable mentions.
Can I real quick just do some honorable mentions then too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll just throw them out really fast, just like you did. The Bob's Burgers movie.
Yes, I love it.
Scoob. We talked about that on a few episodes ago. I think it's really underrated. Mars Express, like you said. Summit of the Gods is a great animated documentary.
Yeah, that one's good, yeah.
Boss Baby Family Business, Don't Come At Me. Inuo, Masaki Yuasa film that came out a couple years ago is really good and kind of underrated. Crypto Zoo, yes. Boys Go to Jupiter, Sirocco, and The Kingdom of the Winds is really good.
I like that too, yeah.
Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman is really good.
Yep.
Four Souls of the Coyote is really good. And the last one, I've talked about it on this channel before, When You Get to the Forest, a cutout animation film by Eric Power about a woman who gets lost in the woods and has to sort of find herself so she can get out of the woods and talks to a talking cat.
I love that. Well, now let me hit you with my top 10. I don't think there's going to be any movie in here that we haven't already mentioned or brought up somewhere in this episode. My number 10 is Colors Within. Made my top 10. Surprised it didn't make yours, but it's my number 10.
It missed by one slot.
But still, you've probably seen a few more than me too.
Yeah.
And my number 9 is Flow, which I also really, really love. Number 8, I have the first Slam Dunk. Number 7 is Ne Zha 2, which we talked about a lot. Number 6 is Nimona, which, is a big hit in our house, and we've seen a couple of times, really, really love it. Number 5, I have Robot Dreams, which my kid will be watching soon. She's going to be watching that for film school, proctored by me. Mm-hmm. And then number 4, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which, the ending doesn't bother me as much because also at the time, I thought that the next one was coming out like 6 months later.
I knew. I was like, there is zero way that's going to happen.
Yeah, it was ambitious, an ambitious goal, but I still think it's great. Number 3, I have Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is a delight. Number 2 is Soul. which I think it's kind of underrated in the Pixar. I think it gets a little bit forgotten, I think, when people are talking about Pixar greats.
I totally agree. It's the last great Pixar movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I even like Luca and Turning Red and some of the ones I've come
Yeah.
out since then. But yeah, they've not been sold.
Agreed.
And then my number one is The Wild Robot, which I think, is just a phenomenal experience in every aspect.
Amazing. So that'll do it for Never Do Season 2 Animation Boogaloo. Did I say never did it?
You said never do.
Never
season
do.
2.
Okay,
Never do season 2.
I'm cool with that. What should we do for season 3?
Female directors.
You want to do female directors? Okay, so
Yep.
we got to find some female guests.
We have to find some guests. Yeah, I know Megan will do one with us, but I'd like to find one outside of my home also.
Yeah, I don't think Annie will do one with us.
We have to get Jeff to do one, of course, because he has to be on every season. But I'd like to get some other female guests.
He has long hair.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll be back with our season 3, Attack of the Ladies. Season 3, Women of the Hour. Season 3.
I don't know, we'll have to come up with something.
Season 3, Female Directors and Me. Season 3. I don't know.